We're on our Keiser Leg Press right now, and this is probably one of my favorite pieces of Keiser equipment that we have in the studio for one fairly simple reason. If you're on a leg press, a traditional leg press machine, what often happens is in order to get a full range of motion, you have to start from this really deep, kind of awkward position. And as I press through it, it's always going to be the most difficult to get yourself through that initial pressing phase to this. So the nice thing with this Keiser equipment is we actually have these extra stoppers up top here that are controlled by this bar here. So if I push that plate out, I can lift up on these bars and it's going to move these stoppers and allow me to go through a deeper range of motion, which means we can actually start with our seat much further back. I can get into this very easily. There's no issues. I'm going to press out. I'm going to pull up on these handles. I've moved my stoppers, and now I can go through that leg press in a nice, comfortable manner, right? Now, one thing to keep in mind when you're going through this is in terms of how deep you actually want to go. One trick that I use with a lot of my clients is I will just get them to lift their foot off the plate, and I'm just gauging how far that range of motion is. I'm looking at just passive motion here. We'll do the same thing for the other side as well. And we're looking at the lowest common denominator. So which leg has the least amount of motion? And you're gonna match your range of motion to that amount of distance, right? So right now, both my legs are looking fairly symmetrical. So I've got about maybe about a 4-inch depth from beyond my starting point. So I'm coming to about here, right? So as I press my plates out, I'm coming down to that depth, pressing back out through my heels. And this way I know that I'm not gonna have the plates pushing me right down and kind of crushing my legs in towards my chest. I'm making sure that I'm controlling it all the way through. I'm working through a range of motion that I have control through, and I'm gonna get the most benefit from there. You also have the ability to work this one as a single leg press. So up at the front here, kind of around to the side, there's a pin that you can pull out. When you pull that pin out, it now gives you the opportunity just to go with a single leg. In this situation, I would always, or typically, the foot that I'm not pressing with, I'm gonna put it down on the frame. I'll bring my other foot up, and I'll go through my press from there. So not very often am I gonna leave that leg up here, or I'm not gonna leave it on the plate. I'm actually gonna put it down on the frame of the machine, and I'm gonna go through my single leg press at this point. Have fun.